Shelby.
And we're from
Bitch Please.
Welcome back to another episode.
Episode number
15.
15. Okay. Let's go. Consistency.
Okay.
The only thing in my life consistent.
No, that is what it is.
It be what it be.
But today, if you guys haven't noticed, we do have a special guest that is joining us today. We have Miss T. I used to play basketball with her in high school. We went to high school in Vegas, and so we used to hoop together. We went to school together, all that good stuff. So just everybody welcome T.
Hey.
Hey y'all, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
me.
thank you for
thanks
joining
for being
us.
here.
We definitely wanted to chat with you.
Definitely.
I've been kind of following your Instagram for a while, and I was like, you know what? I would love to hear her story and just hear everything that was going on. So, that's what prompted me to reach out to you to kind of see what was going on. And I'm definitely glad that you chose to speak with us today.
Yeah, Dee's told me a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, ladies. I've been following y'all as well. Love the
Thank you.
podcast. Congratulations. Y'all doing y'all thing.
Thank you. So what were you going to say before?
Oh no, that was it. I was just saying,
okay.
Dee told me a lot. She's told me a lot about your story and just kind of like, where you are now. And she showed me pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. I was like, look at her.
Yes, I am a stage 3 breast cancer survivor.
That's gotta be challenging.
4 years. Wow. So with that, how did it all start for you?
Well, wow, it's a crazy story. I just remember 2019. It was probably the day after Thanksgiving. I decided to put up my Christmas tree. So I was putting up my Christmas tree. I remember being on the phone with a friend. I went and laid down on my bed for a second just to take a break and have my conversation. And when I laid down, I saw like a lump on my inner left breast. And I was like, what is that? So I touched it. It was hard. It was small, but it was like a bead. I never felt it before, never seen it, but I actually saw it with my eye that day. So I was just like, I don't know what that is, but I didn't panic right away because in 2016, after having my second child, a golf ball size mass started to grow under my right armpit, and I panicked then, and I thought it was something then. So I went to the emergency room. They checked it out, and it was nothing. They told me it was just probably a clogged milk duct because at the time I was breastfeeding. So when I saw this, I had just had another kid who I was still breastfeeding. So I was like, I hope that's what it is. But it was just so awkward and so random that all of a sudden it was there. So I called my mom. I let her feel it. She was like, you need to get that checked out. So I went and got it checked out. It took about 3 weeks to be seen. So that whole entire 3 weeks, I'm trying not to panic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet.
So right before Christmas, they give me an ultrasound and a mammogram. So during that 3-week period, I had kind of did some research about breast cancer just to see what it looked like. And so as they gave me my ultrasound, I could see the screen. And I kind of was like, oh, it looks similar to what I had seen during when I researched myself. But I was just like, I'm gonna stay faithful. This can't be it. I got 3 babies. And my youngest at the time had just made 2. So I'm just like, please don't let it be that. So come February 1st, they had me wait that whole New Year, Christmas, all day on February 1st. They diagnosed it as stage 3 breast cancer. So it was one lump that I felt, but after my mammogram, it was 4 masses total, and it had started to travel to my lymph nodes. So the doctor, he told me what had to be done at that time. He was like, you're going to have a double mastectomy. I had never heard of that. I'm like, what is that? They was like, we got to remove your breast. And so at that time, I'm thinking they're just going to remove the lumps from my breast. But no, to take all of my tissue from both breasts. And I had to do radiation 4 rounds, chemotherapy 4 rounds, and radiation was like 12 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But that came later on. So I got the double mastectomy first, and then I went through my chemo. I mean, as I was going through chemo, I stopped a couple of times. I was just, I don't know, I was just questioning, like, am I doing the right thing? Because, you know, it's so much stuff out there where people like, well, you could heal naturally and all of this. Yeah. But I had heard so many negative stories as well of people who just went natural and didn't make it. So I was like, I'm just gonna do everything I can do. I'm gonna go natural path as well as do my chemotherapy. So it ended up working out. So I got both my breasts removed, and I thought that that was going to be that. But once I finished my chemo, they was like, okay, they tested me and they seen that I had a BRCA gene, BRCA. Never heard of that before then either. And so they said it's hereditary. Neither one of my parents have any cancer. Neither one of their parents had any cancer. So I was just like, how? Yeah. So they said because of that, they recommended that I remove my ovaries because they said ovarian cancer could come from that.
Absolutely.
And at the time, I was cool with it because I was like, I'm done having kids. But of course, once I did that surgery, it was like a regret kind of because I was just like, I don't know. I wanted to do it on my own terms. That's what I
understandable.
No,
and I felt like if I wanted to do that and not being forced, then it would have been a different story.
Right.
So after that, then came the radiation, 12 rounds of radiation. I was going, I don't know why I keep saying 12 rounds, 12 weeks. I had to go Monday through Friday every day.
Wow. For 12 weeks?
For 12 weeks.
Oh my
God. So
a
the
lot.
good thing about all of this is that it happened in 2020. So it wasn't nothing to do anyway. I got my family near.
Yeah.
So that was helpful. And finally, at the end of 2021, I believe it was about September where I got the call and they said your PET scan was clear. You don't have cancer anymore. So that's my short version.
I mean, that's amazing. And I'm sure it's super hard and scary to deal with. I mean, having a double mastectomy, I'm sure is huge.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as women, you know, our parts, we kind of tend to hold on to those things to make us feel, you know, feminine. So in that time when you had to have the double mastectomy, how did you heal with it, like mentally? Because I'm sure that it was probably trying on you mentally.
I think that was the hardest thing to hear initially because I was just like, okay, I'm gonna beat this. That was my mindset right away. But I don't remember really like flipping it. I almost fainted in a doctor's office when he said they're gonna take my nipples too. I was just like, I almost fainted at that point. I was like, ain't nothing else we could do. Like, so that was hard. And then the recovery was hard also. I remember being bedridden for like at least a good 2 weeks. But they kicked me out the hospital like right after the surgery. I'm still drugged up. That was crazy. They sent me home that same day. And I'm like, this is a major surgery. Am I really supposed to be going home? So
right.
That's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah. My mom and my husband ended up being my caretakers, so I'm grateful for that. But I felt like I should have still been in the hospital being looked after by a doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you should
absolutely.
Have. Yeah.
So how old were you when you found the lump? Like what was that time? What was that timeline look like?
I was 31 at the time. I had just turned 31 that same month.
Okay.
That's when I felt the lump in November. Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. And then what's the difference in stages, if you don't mind explaining that? Like between stage 1 breast cancer, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. Like what are the differences between those stages?
So it's really like the treatments. Stage 1, I think that you can just probably do radiation and maybe some medications monthly or something like that. Stage 2, it gets a little bit more serious where you have to probably have a surgery and radiation. Stage 3, which I had, was a double mastectomy. They also gave me hormonal therapy. So at first I was going to get a shot every month and then taking daily pills. I could not do it. I could not do it. So that forced me into menopause. The shots, it was pre-menopause before I got my ovaries removed. So that put me there, but I couldn't deal with the hot flashes, the mood swings and stuff.
Girl,
like
I bet. I could imagine.
And then stage 4, I believe they say that it is terminal, but I believe you can be healed. And so it's kind of like all of that, the chemo, the radiation, the hormonal therapies, and yeah, pretty much they just monitor you probably monthly, I believe, at that point.
Yeah. So I know you said this was during COVID, which is probably great times because I'm assuming you didn't have to like worry about work or nothing like that because you were already off. That's perfect because that could have come at a different time, which would have been a complete headache. Not that that wasn't already a headache, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say the day that we shut down, March 18th, was the day of my surgery. So that's why.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's wild. That's wild. At 31.
At 31.
But you were thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were blessed with what, you said 3 beautiful kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Love that for you. That's crazy. So how was like your support system around you? Like how did that, help you kind of get through, as well as like, the aftermath of having, the double mastectomy done? Like how did that support look for you in your life?
Man, I'm blessed. My mom and my dad, they took turns coming by, cooking meals, looking after my children. My husband was there every day. So I was good in that category. Like I was well taken care of. I didn't feel supported, loved, taken care of. So yeah, that was awesome for me. My kids, they were younger at the time, so they really couldn't fully understand. Yeah. But I always say I feel like my son, who was 2 at the time, I really feel like he helped me heal like the most.
Wow.
I had just finished breastfeeding him, so he was already, clingy, but just all day long, he would just kiss on me, just wanting to
sweet
hugging
baby.
me, like loving me. Yes, and so his love did so much for me.
I love that.
That is so sweet.
I love that. That's so sweet.
Oh, wow.
I don't have no kids, but I think that's adorable.
So I know you also had your ovaries removed and it hit you kicked you into menopause. How did you feel about having that as well? I mean, I know you've expressed like you would have liked to do that on your own terms, but did you have any, I guess between both of the surgeries, with the first part of your surgery and the second part, did you have to kind of reframe how you felt about like womanhood for you, or were you
Absolutely
able to? Yeah.
Yes. It was hard because I already was breastless.
Yeah.
And then to have that go as well, not have a cycle anymore, it was a lot on me mentally. I think that I also have moments of I won't say regret. I always just ponder, like, did I make the right decision? Because what if it would have never happened and I just did that out of fear?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't fear. Maybe I just took the necessary precautions and I did what needed to be done. So I try to stay positive and think of it that way. But sometimes I just have those mental battles.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know if I made the right decision. And some days I feel more strongly about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally get that. I had a hysterectomy 2 years ago because there was concerns of me potentially having cancer. Actually, if I would have not had the surgery, probably either last year or this year, I would have actually had it because of the way that it was tracking. And so I kind of had that thought for a little bit, even though I didn't even want to have kids. But it was still a thought like, well, maybe I should have done something a little bit more conservative. And I kind of went back and forth with it. But I was like, you know what? Like, if I can, to ease it, I was just like, it was the best decision I needed to make for myself, that I didn't have to worry about potentially, going that route. So I get it. I totally understand, because I definitely was there as well. I still have my ovaries, but everything else is gone. And I'm not going to lie, not having a cycle, well, not having a period. I still have a cycle, but not having a period has been pretty great.
Yeah, that part is a good thing.
Tampons and pads are expensive. They are very expensive.
Yeah.
So
may I ask you, what made you even like find out that something was wrong with your ovaries? Like what was taking place?
Well, so the reason why I ended up having to go that route anyway is because I had kept going to get my, my yearly checkups. And there had been a couple of times in the past years where they had spotted things within my my uterus and like my cervix and stuff like that. And they had to remove certain sections out. So I went back again and everything. Like I had gone to a couple of other appointments years later, and they had come, my paps were normal. But I went back again like that last time. They were like, yeah, you have these abnormal cells again. But this time they were in different areas and they were higher on the scale. And I was like, well, this is in a different area, which you thought you got all of the, the degrees of margin? They thought they got all of that out and they didn't. Well, they did, but it just appeared in another area and at a more advanced rate. And they were like, well, we can do the same type of procedure we did last time, but there is a good chance that the next time it happens, it will be cancer.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, well, I don't want that. So, and he was, my doctor, he was a little hesitant because he's like, you're young, you could still have kids, da, 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 da. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, if I change my mind at some point, we'll figure it out. Cause I saw my ovaries. So if I needed to do IVF or something like that, I could adopt. There's options, but I wasn't willing to risk having cancer over having a potential kid that I wasn't really wanting to have kids in the first place, So that's how that whole thing started out.
Okay. Well, that's the thing that you found it out before.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to just keep checking, and it was doing so well for so long until it wasn't. So.
Yeah, I have to do the same because I did the 23andMe thing because I don't know my father's history, my biological father and like his side of the family, but I actually have the BRCA gene. So I have to like go and get my boobies checked all the time. And like, I get frequent breast, like cysts in my breast. And so I'm always having to go and get checked, and it's like always freaks me out. I was like, oh my God, what is this? I actually have to go get a CT done just to see if I have, if this is a cyst or not. So I understand that fear of like finding that out, you know what I mean? And just being like, did I make the right choice? Cause they've suggested, cause I know women who have gone out, who found out that they actually have the BRCA gene. They haven't tested, for breast cancer or anything like that, but they do have that gene, and they go out and they get the mastectomy done as like a precaution.
Right.
And so like, I know a lot of women who've done that. And, I've thought about it. I was like, it's been, suggested by doctors and stuff like that, but I'm like, maybe I should wait, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know, so I understand like that thought process behind what she was explaining.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know about the BRCA gene, or did someone in your family tell you? Like, how did you know that you had it?
So I did the 23andMe, which is the
ancestry.
Yeah, it's like Ancestry. Okay. So I went in, I set my DNA in or whatever, and the 23andMe, you can either have like your heritage or whatever, kind of like that. But then there's also like a medical aspect to it, like an overall health. And they test for the BRCA gene. They test for like hearing loss, kidney issues, all sorts of shit that they test on there. And that's how I found out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm positive for this. Like, and I know what it is because my background is in biomedical sciences.
Okay.
So I was like, this is why I had a whole panic attack, girl. I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, like I went to my doctor immediately, told her what I found out, showed her the results. And she was like, okay, well, these are some options that we can do. We can just kind of do like, I started getting mammograms, probably like when I was 28, so that I can just kind of keep up and make sure.
Yeah.
And I do daily breast exams because I'm, paranoid as shit. I'm like,
I'm gonna have to try that. 23andMe is what it's called.
It's called 23andMe. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it'll give you some really cool things about like your ancestry. So you'll find out where you're from, where your people are from, and all that. Then you also find out, also find out about like your health stuff, which is super important. Cause I know if your family's anything like my family, they don't know nothing. They don't talk about it when it comes to like health stuff. You got cousins that aren't your cousins. So you trying to figure out
the pretend cousins are
like I need to know health stuff.
Facts.
So that's a really good, that's a good option to use.
Facts. So I wanted to ask you a question, T. What did, like after you healed physically, kind of what did the, healing process for you look like after the fact? Like once everything was, healed and that, did you go to therapy? What kind of helped you heal mentally after?
I still think I need therapy, and I still think I'm gonna go. But
we all need therapy, girls. Okay.
It's okay. It is okay.
I definitely just saw myself in nature a lot. Like I was always trying to hike, be outside, work out, change my diet. And like mentally and spiritually, like I had to do a lot of forgiving of people, just like letting stuff go. Cause I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I had the BRCA gene, but what caused it to form into cancer, I just realized like I was going through a lot mentally prior to 2020. Like a lot of mental battles. A lot of it probably was postpartum depression. But I realized that I was harboring a lot of unforgiveness in a lot of different relationships. So I had to just mentally like reset. Take a lot of me time. Definitely I had to just spend a lot of time by myself, just resting, journaling.
Yes, I love that.
And then I also got into my business heavily. So like I try to design clothes. I started designing during that time, and started my online boutique. So just
I love that.
Things.
Shout out your boutique, girl.
Yeah, shout it out. What's your boutique name?
RoyalRaiment.com. RoyalRaiment.com. I have some personal exclusive designs, things that I designed, and I also have boutique wholesale things. So
love that. Okay.
We'll put all that information at the end as well. So there'll be like a little thing that pops up and you can find all of her information on there. You can find her on, you have Instagram as well for your business?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So you guys can find her on Instagram. Yep. As well. That'll be dope. Well, that's awesome that you started that. I saw that too. I was like, okay, girl.
Yeah. Yep, trying to stay positive.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that. So what does life look like for you today? Like what is, you have your online boutique, but like what does it look like, and kind of like your day-to-day shit, you just got through like this whole crazy journey.
Yeah.
You a whole new girl. Like what's your day-to-day look like now?
So my day-to-day, I'm still trying to find the perfect manufacturer. I done went through like 2 different people that it just did not quite work out. The timelines was way too long for me. But so I still teach, but after that I go into just, I'm planning a fashion show September 7th. So that's really what takes a lot of my time when it comes to my business. But my day-to-day is just working on my business, hanging with my kids, getting them busy in sports, and that's about it.
Yeah, I love that.
That's awesome.
That's just like I think it's so beautiful that I see so many women that go through this, or just go through big traumatic events in general, especially when it comes to like our womanhood and stuff like that, and just how we can go through that, and we go through that with such dignity and grace, and then we come out like just so much stronger and even more beautiful, and just like, this is me, this is what I did, and I just love being able to see that. I don't like that we have to go through it.
That part sucks.
But I love the beauty afterwards.
Absolutely. I would say it definitely made me a stronger person. Some people even told me it made me better. I didn't know how to take that at first, but I guess I get it now.
Yeah,
like thank you, but
yeah. But it definitely made me mentally stronger. Yeah. Well, it brought out the strength that I didn't know I had. I'll say that. I always consider myself as a strong person, but I didn't know I could be that strong like me. I couldn't even take a shot from the doctor prior to all this. Now I just go in like it ain't nothing. Like I'm used to this now. I don't know. But
yeah.
Do you feel like you have different appreciations for things that you may have not had prior to all of this?
Absolutely. It makes me think twice about how I respond and react a lot of the times, just not taking things for granted, not holding on to bitterness or petty things. And it just makes I enjoy life more. Like I'm facing my fears. I done went skydiving, girl. What? I'm like, what?
Did you really?
You did?
That's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah, I never would have thought I would have did, but I'm just like, no, I'm gonna enjoy my life. I'm gonna live it to the fullest. I'm still
Yes.
here. So yeah,
Yes.
That's
I'm gonna live it
awesome.
I love that. I love that, just the what we like to experience afterwards, like we just kind of go full throttle in life after you go through some hella, crazy shit.
Yeah.
And
for
we're just
sure.
like, I'm all in.
Like,
Yeah,
living my
for
best.
sure.
Living my best.
It's so funny because you think about when people are like, I'm just living my best life, but going through something like traumatic when it comes to your like well-being or your health, that living your best looks very different than somebody else who might just be kicking it. You know what I mean? It just is a different experience. And it's like, I'm not judging you living your best, how you living your best, but like this is a celebration of my life type of living my best. Like it's very different.
Intentional. Look.
Yes, yes.
Purpose. I'm trying to live in
Exactly.
purpose. Yeah.
It is. It
Wow.
is.
That is beautiful.
Where you live at now?
I live in Orlando, girl, and I saw you was out here. I was like, dang, I should have hit her up.
I could have came and did the podcast
I
out
know.
there.
But I was like, I didn't want to ruin your family time, girl. But I was like, dang, she was just here.
If I would have known, I would have been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been out here, girl, almost 10 years. 10 years in June.
Oh, I know you love it. It was so beautiful out there. All that green.
It's nice, but
it's interesting.
It's that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Living here is interesting.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's no Vegas, but it's different, but it is definitely a little different in like the bad ways, like all the bad ways. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that. Yeah, it was beautiful seeing all the green, but yeah, it's a different story when you got to stay there all the time.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It's a little wild sometimes, but we're doing what we can in our own little way. So, yeah, you're still in Vegas?
I'm still in Vegas. I came back in 2015. I was in Chicago. That's where my husband's from.
Okay.
I knew it. So we here.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stay here. Now he's set on staying here. I'm trying to get somewhere else.
Girl, same.
Where are you looking at to move to?
The place we both agree on is either Dallas or Houston.
Okay.
But yeah, I was feeling more of like maybe Atlanta or something like that. But we both agree Dallas.
Yeah. Texas is not bad. Like housing market's great.
No.
Yeah, it's apparently a really good place to raise a family.
Yeah.
So that's an option, girl.
Trying to get them to go.
Right.
Just do it. Just be like, this is happening. That's
right.
We got That's it. We're going.
So I know we talked a lot already about, everything that you've gone through, and we just wanted to know, as we kind of wrap things up, what does it look like for T in the future? We know for you're doing the fashion show and planning the fashion show and things like that, but just in life in general, what does it look like for you in the future?
Well, I'm just trying to be my own boss in every kind of way.
Yes, ma'am.
I want my own storefront. So that's like the end goal for Royal Raymond. But I also have different goals, like for my children, they make juice. But I'm like, if we can get their juice in stores, trying to work on doing that. I'm just trying to explore, travel, see the world, go everywhere I can, leave a legacy for my children's children.
Yes.
I just want to be fulfilled, okay, in every capacity, in every way.
We get it.
Like whatever it is that I'm doing, I just want to do it to the fullest.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, because you have the opportunity to do that, like you got to take that. So
for sure.
So just for kind of other women who are out there who either have gone through this, is currently going through this, what advice would you give them? If you could sit down and talk to them face to face, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, you got to stay faithful. Believe that you can be healed and you will be healed. Do the work and you can be healed. No matter what the doctor says, they're going to diagnose you and give you their input. But if you believe that you can be healed, I don't care what stage you are in, you can be healed. You can heal your body. Believe that you can be healed. And just stay strong. Like, don't give in. Don't doubt it. I can't say don't fall apart, but you know, you're gonna have your days, but just believe that you can survive this. Sometimes they try to put you on a timeline saying, well, most people don't make it past this date or whatever. Like, don't believe none of that. Don't let that into your mind. Stay strong, build yourself up daily, say your affirmations, go get your mammograms. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps hearing it.
That's great advice.
I
That's
love
great
that.
advice.
I know there's many women out there who are going to want to hear that.
Yeah. And again, thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing your story, because again, like Shelbie was saying, a lot of people, either whether they're going through it or are about to go through it, they don't know what to expect, or they don't know anybody who's gone through it. So for you to share that, especially at the age that you're at, like, or we're at, is amazing.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. And I'm so glad that you got through it, girl. I am so glad you made it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And it takes strength, honestly, to be able to come on. And granted, like, we ain't got no, like, 100,000 followers or whatever. Not yet.
Not yet.
We're claiming it.
But the fact that you came on and you were more than willing to share your story. I mean, there's a lot of women out there that we know that are not, and they're too afraid to, or they're not quite mentally they're ready. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you have that strength to be able to come on here and, tell your story, and then, give advice to other women. We really appreciate you being able to make time to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate you all for taking some time out, or even thinking of me, considering me for this. I'm so appreciative, and I love what y'all doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Girl. So before we go, we're gonna just have you, for your social media, your business website, your business Instagram, go ahead and share that information so people can know where to find you. And again, like I said, at the end of the video, or actually probably right in this section, there will be all that information here. But go ahead and let the people know where they can find you, girl.
Absolutely. My personal IG is I Am Royalty. And my business is Royal Raiment, and it's also royalraiment.com. So that's where you can find me on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. Royal Raiment.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Yes. This was a great episode. Very, very informative and just very inspirational.
Yeah.
Yes. You can find us on Instagram, on TikTok for
the time being, because I don't like TikTok, but that's
we're gonna keep doing what we can.
We're gonna keep doing what we can.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, facts. But definitely, guys, like, follow, share, subscribe, all of that good jazz. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you just, want to ask T any questions, you are more than welcome to, send us, those questions, and we can relay them to her. We just want to get women together to be with women and support women on this podcast. So, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.